In the winter of 1921, a railway construction crew digging through the sun-baked earth of the Punjab encountered something that would take another year for the world to fully comprehend. They found bricks, not scattered fragments, not the casual litter of a forgotten settlement, but organized, fired, precisely dimensioned bricks laid in patterns that spoke of deliberate urban intelligence. Streets, drainage channels, granaries, public baths, an entire civilization compressed into the dust beneath the feet of men who had no idea they were standing on the ruins of something that would detonate like a slow explosion through every assumption scholarship had confidently constructed. The city was Harappa, and Harappa was only the beginning of the unraveling. 5 sites, 5 moments when the spade hit stone and the academic world was forced, sometimes reluctantly and sometimes with genuine awe, to tear up the chapter it had already written and begin again. The Indus Valley civilization was formally identified through systematic excavation led by John Marshall and his Archaeological Survey of India colleagues beginning in 1922. The dating placed the civilization's mature urban phase between approximately 2600 and 1900 BCE, contemporary with the Old Kingdom of Egypt and the Akkadian Empire of Mesopotamia. Mohenjo-Daro was organized on a grid plan of such geometric regularity that archaeologists initially assumed it must be a later construction imposed on older foundations. Streets ran perpendicular to one another with deliberate standardization. The main avenues wide enough for carts to pass, the side lanes calibrated for pedestrian flow. Every house in the residential districts was connected to a covered drainage system, brick-lined channels running beneath the streets that carried wastewater away from habitation areas, with an understanding of public health that the Roman Empire would not institutionalize for another 2,000 years. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro, a watertight tank of fired brick, sealed with natural bitumen, measuring approximately 12 meters by 7, was not a swimming pool. This civilization built monuments to communal hygiene rather than individual rulers, and that fact alone shattered every model of early Bronze Age social organization that Western scholarship had spent decades constructing. The Indus script, found on thousands of small carved seals, remains undeciphered. The civilization speaks to us still in a language we cannot yet read. The site of Kiladi, a modest agricultural field near the town of Sivaganga, was identified as archaeologically significant in 2013 following a surface survey by the Archaeological Survey of India. Carbon dating of organic material from the lowest excavated levels placed human occupation at Kiladi to approximately 600 BCE, with the overall settlement evidence extending several centuries in both directions. The excavated evidence from Kiladi demonstrated literacy, Tamil Brahmi script, inscriptions on pottery sherds, at a date that pushed the documented history of Tamil literacy backward by approximately 3 to 4 centuries. The material culture recovered from Kiladi included gold ornaments, semi-precious stone beads, iron implements, copper artifacts, terracotta figurines of considerable artistic sophistication. The Vaigai River Valley civilization that Kiladi represents was not a derivative offshoot of northern Indian cultural development. It was an independent, parallel, and extraordinarily sophisticated urban culture. 40 meters beneath the surface of the Gulf of Kambat, off the northwestern coast of Gujarat, sonar equipment detected a series of geometric anomalies on the seabed that did not correspond to any known natural geological formation. The structures appeared as organized rectangular formations, aligned angles, and what investigators described as wall-like features extending across an area of considerable size. Recovered artifacts from the site included worked wood, subsequently carbon dated to approximately 9,500 years before the present, placing the material at the very edge of the early Holocene period. If the Gulf of Kambat structures represent genuine human construction, they would represent evidence of settled, architecturally capable human society in India at a date approximately 4,000 years earlier than the earliest currently accepted urban civilization anywhere on Earth. The ocean floor of the Indian subcontinent's coastal shelves may contain an entire chapter of human prehistory that rising sea levels have hidden from us for 9,000 years. The cave temples of Ellora in Maharashtra represent one of the most sustained acts of creative and devotional labor in the history of human civilization. Carved directly into the basalt cliff face, of the Charanandri Hills between approximately the 5th and 11th centuries CE. The 34 cave temples of Ellora encompass Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain monuments in a continuous complex.
Cave 16, the Kailasa Temple, is not a cave at all. It is a freestanding temple complex carved downward from the top of a basalt plateau. The surrounding rock excavated away to leave the temple standing isolated within a deep, rock-cut courtyard. The removal of an estimated 200,000 tons of basalt rock from the surrounding plateau, working strictly from the top downward, with no ability to use a removal of lower material to inform decisions about upper carving already completed. The temple that emerged stands approximately 30 meters tall, roughly twice the height of the Parthenon of Athens, and is decorated across every visible surface with sculptural carving of a quality that represents some of the finest stone sculpture produced anywhere in the ancient world. To carve this from the top down, across a century and a half of work, without the ability to revise decisions already executed in permanent stone, required a quality of advanced spatial planning, community memory, and transgenerational commitment to a shared artistic vision. Engineering analysts have calculated that the rate of rock removal required to complete the Kailasa Temple within its documented construction period implies a workforce and daily productivity that, given the manual tools available, stretches credibility without breaking it, but only just. The Great Shore Temple has stood facing the Bay of Bengal since approximately the 8th century CE, built under the Pallava king Narasimhavarman II, and constituting one of the earliest examples of Dravidian structural temple architecture in stone. In December 2004, an event of catastrophic violence briefly revealed something that the Bay of Bengal had been concealing for centuries. The Indian Ocean tsunami drew the sea back from the beach, exposing the seabed for several hundred meters. Local fishermen who witnessed this phenomenon reported seeing stone structures emerge from the receding water, walls, pillars, and what appeared to be the remnants of temple complexes extending out beneath the sea surface. Archaeological Survey of India divers, and subsequently a joint Indian-British underwater archaeology team, investigated the seabed off Mahabalipuram and found precisely what the witness accounts had implied. Underwater, extending from the shoreline into the Bay of Bengal, lay the structural remains of ancient temple complexes, rock carvings, and architectural foundations that corroborated ancient Tamil literary references to a great port city of the Pallavas swallowed by the sea. The text had described 7 pagodas visible from the sea at Mahabalipuram. The shore temple was long assumed to be the sole survivor. The underwater remains confirmed that the literary tradition was not exaggeration. In that correction, in that moment when the physical evidence confirmed the indigenous textual tradition against the skepticism of external scholarship, lay a lesson that applies to every site in this documentary. What these 5 sites share is the common experience of having been underestimated, of having been assigned a smaller, simpler, more easily managed role in the human story than the evidence ultimately supported. The story of ancient India is not finished being told. The excavations are ongoing. The ocean floor has not been fully surveyed. The Indus script has not been read. Somewhere beneath the soil of a subcontinent that has hosted continuous human civilization for longer than any other place on Earth, the next discovery is waiting. The only question is which shovel will find it and whether the world, this time, will be ready to hear what it says.